RT is in Austin, Texas, catching up with radio talk show host and documentary filmmaker Alex Jones. Alex, thanks for sitting down with us today. My first question is, several months after Obama stepped in as President of the United States, you make a documentary calling him a deceiver. Why?
He said he wouldn't hire lobbyists. All he's done is hire high-powered lobbyists at every level of government. And he's handed the country over to the oligarchs, the international bankers, to loot the nation, according to Bloomberg Financial, of $9.7 trillion. He has lied about leaving Iraq. He said he would take the troops out immediately. Now he says 16 to 23 months, and he's going to keep them there. He's increased the troops by 30,000, doubling them in Afghanistan. He's bombing Pakistan. Barack Obama promised that he would only raise taxes on those making over $250,000 a year. He's now announced, Wall Street Journal, he's going to change all the loopholes to tax all Americans, taking away our waivers we have for our homes, taking away the exemptions. The lies are incredible. Everything Obama has said has been a lie.
In your work, you talk a lot about the New World Order. What is the New World Order?
The New World Order is a private group of ultra-rich bankers who are offshore. They're above the U.S., they're above Iran, Russia, Venezuela. They are international, and they are creating a network of international laws to regulate and control and dominate nations. They openly state that they want to deindustrialize countries, they want to bankrupt the population, they want a poor population that has to go to the government for handouts. They want a domesticated population. So the New World Order is what every other dictatorship is called for in history. They are people who want a planetary dictatorship run by a group of plutocratic financiers. It is world government of, for, and by private bankers.
And what you say is that the American government is a puppet of the New World Order. Is that right?
Absolutely. I am a patriot. I believe in the free market. I believe in the red, white, and blue Constitution, Bill of Rights. And everything that the supposed government is doing is the opposite of that. It is 180 degrees from what this nation is supposed to be. And in every poll, the American people are against the wars. They are against the open borders. They are against the police state. But the central government does the opposite of what the people wants, and they're setting up this control grid to try to suppress the American people.
How do you see Barack Obama as American president?
President Barack Obama is a deceiver. He says one thing, and then he does the opposite. And that's the only thing that is constant with Barack Obama. He bills himself as anti-establishment, but really he is completely owned and paid for by the establishment.
So how do you see the future of American politics?
The United States is a corrupt empire that has been used by international banks and the global crime syndicate to expand their empire worldwide. They have basically used the United States like a credit card to pay for their world government. And I see the United States entering the greatest crisis since its founding 235 years ago. So I see the United States as a hijacked nation, a nation that is being used as a tool or an engine of international oligarchs, international financiers. I see the United States in danger of being collapsed, but at the same time I see a massive awakening to the globalist agenda taking place, and so I know that we have a fighting chance of defeating the tyranny.
Following up on that, some people go further and say that a collapse for America is inevitable. What do you say to that?
The globalists want to have a collapse in the United States. And yes, we are in a very real danger of collapsing because the central banks have gotten this country deep in debt. They've done it by design, and now they've cut off the money supply. And the economy for the last year has been in a free fall. Real unemployment's up at 20%. And so, yes, I've seen many scholars in the United States and worldwide talk about the collapse of the United States. That is a real danger. But again, the New World Order bankers only want to collapse the United States so that they can come back in, pose as the saviors, and bring control over the nation, and then reform the United States as a fascist engine to carry out military operations against any free nation in the world. They openly state that the United States will be the pit bull. the attack dog. The American people will be used to go after every free nation in the world. So the United States is in a process of going from a corrupt oligarchy to a fascistic, Hitlerian pit bull meant to go out and literally wage war against the planet. Meanwhile, the international financiers will sit in Switzerland and London and Paris and Berlin and blame America for all the tyranny when they own our private Federal Reserve and are launching the attack.
One of the things you talk about in your film is that the American government is allegedly trying to build a civil army to be able to use unsuspecting civilians for their own purposes. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Yes. Legislation has passed the House and the Senate, and they're in the process right now of ratifying it, to create, in the words of the New York Times, a 7 million person army. And they openly state that citizens will be spying on each other, that this will be a paramilitary force domestically and internationally, to be a civilian force that after the U.S. military takes over a country, then this civilian military force will come in and administer the country. So the United States is being used as a colony of the offshore bankers to create a social service class to administer world government.
You allege that the Bilderberg Group runs the world. Who are they exactly?
The Bilderberg Group is the Queen of England, the Queen of the Netherlands, it is the Rockefellers, it is the Rothschilds. They write books, they brag about it. David Rockefeller wrote a book 4 years ago saying he wants world government and end of U.S. sovereignty. And they are these incredibly wealthy, powerful families that play with nations and whole populations like they're a little toy. And they are outside the laws. They don't have to follow the laws of the nations they control. And they come in and buy off the governments and finance those governments to go along with their aims. And the New World Order is just a super rich international mafia of oligarchs that are playing God, who want to abolish and bankrupt nation states so they can set up an international order where the planet is owned by a private bank.
Some people say in the next couple of years there's going to be a revolution in America. Could that be possible?
The globalists hate America, but at the same time they know that the American people are waking up, and there's over 100 million armed American citizens who understand that being armed is a basic right and who refuse to be disarmed. And so, yes, we've gotten the internal government documents, the state police documents. They are very concerned about a revolution because they know that as they bankrupt the nation, as they turn us into third world slaves, that the people will resist. And so they are attempting to set up a high-tech police state in the United States as a rearguard action so that as they've stolen the country blind to build their world government, using the U.S.'s energy and money and finance to build it, now they're done with us. But the final phase is putting a police state in so they can successfully rob the United States without having the American people ever take control of the country and then prosecute them and arrest them.
How do you explain the extreme popularity of Barack Obama? How long do you think this Obama phenomenon is going to last?
Barack Obama is a manufactured Madison Avenue pitchman. He's a fraud. And he made all these great promises and said a lot of good things during the campaign. Now he's going back on all those promises. Now he's flip-flopping, lying. And so we already see in polls as much as a 20% drop in his approval. And so I think the messianic support for Barack Obama as a cult leader is fading quickly.
The American media and the bloggers, the mainstream media and the alternative media seem to be in a war. Who should American people trust? Who is the reliable source of information?
There is a war between the alternative media and the mainstream media. And you have thousands and thousands of sources in the alternative media. Some of it's true, some of it's lies. They all have agendas. And you have the government trying to infiltrate the blogs to put out their propaganda. The mainstream corporate media in the United States has proven they have an agenda to spin and lie and kind of dumb the information down. They lie by omission. The blogs are very diverse. Some of it's true, some of it's partially true, some of it's not true. But people are developing a sense and becoming more sophisticated, and they've learned that the alternative media is, on average, more accurate and delivers more diversity of thought and opinion than the mainstream media. And so the mainstream media is going bankrupt. TV is going bankrupt. The newspapers are going bankrupt. And it's not just because there's now the internet. It's because people have learned they have an agenda and are lying. But Pandora's box is open. The genie's out of the bottle. They're not going to be able to shut down the internet. People have had a taste of alternative information, that whole cornucopia or that whole rainbow of ideas. And the establishment is in trouble. That's why they're launching this whole police state takeover, is because the people have finally woken up to the fact that the emperor has no clothes.